Hey, it's Julie at Love's Beginning. I have a message today called Instantaneous Power. Again, this is not one of the written ones that I read and record after. It's just me talking from an outline I was given. I'm at the tail end of a cold, and there's shame to admit, oh, you got sick. You're supposed to be spiritual. You're not supposed to get sick anymore. I'm really distracted looking at rainbows right now. I have a prism in my window. And as I'm saying that, I'm seeing all these really beautiful rainbows because the sun's shining through. And how does that connect? Anyhow, it's more, I'm feeling more like, well, fuck it. It's okay. If I show up sick, it's okay. It's just another opportunity to see through it. And I don't have to hide anything. I'd rather put it all out on the line, the clothesline, for anybody to see and say, let's walk through this perception together. It's a perception, and let's walk through it together. Okay, so the idea was instantaneous power, and I think the photo I'll be using for this is a close-up of Christmas lights, and they're all lights on a string, so it's the same power source, and they all are equal lights. They all have equal light. And I think that's the idea here, that the power, the real power, is our equal light. And any power we see playing out in the world that it's very tempting to criticize, this power is being wielded by this one in the wrong way. I'm always brought back to, well, this is a perception. And I was told this today. You can notice two things. You can notice your perceptions, and they're only perceptions, and you can notice your judgments or your feelings. You can notice your feelings. And when the feeling is not good, you have requested distorted perception. So if I'm seeing a power play out in a world and I don't like it, I have requested distorted perception. That's the cause for what I'm seeing. I'm pausing sometimes to drink, to blow my nose, to cough and clear my throat. So this is a very much warts and all sort of thing. So the first idea I was given was, we want to bring you the example of the thought that someone else is crazy. And I was having this thought the other day, feeling judgmental and the form is worried, thinking somebody was unbalanced, and also thinking, I want to distance myself from that. This doesn't feel good. So that's why they're working on this thought with me, the thought that someone else is crazy. And they're asking me to just slow down, as they always do, and look at this one and ask why I would be projecting that on her. Why would I be seeing that imbalance on someone else? How would that serve my agenda if I'm identifying as ego? So I don't have to face the unbalanced state within, the imbalance within. And that's all I have to do in that moment, is to acknowledge and face it. But that really takes a slowdown, because what were the illusions I'm projecting follow one right after the other, seem to surround me, seem so convincing. So the slow down to take things one at a time, and to recognize that whenever there's a feeling of disquiet, it's a projection. I mean, every time. There aren't any exceptions to that. That's why it's always our power, always our power. And I also think, as I approach another level of going deeper, to slow down more often and to see more of what surrounds me as my projection. I can also see my extensions, of course, the extension of love everywhere. But the troublesome ones are my projections. And I will get sick, because as I go along the path and I'm given this invitation to dive deeper, first I'll fight it. And the form of fighting it might be getting sick. And I'm getting used to that. It's like I'll get a new opportunity to become happy, and the first thing I always do is to say, no way, I'm not doing it. I think I'm learning to laugh at my routine and my game, and maybe that will help dissolve it. But there it is. And I want to expose that. I suppose because I seem to have seen these spiritual fairy tales about people who say, "Oh, I'm at peace now, and here's how it was, and here's how it happened for me." And I just did not see this picture of comedy, the whole way, and trying to run away from what helps you. And so I guess I'm trying to share that so you don't judge yourself on your own path, and fighting yourself is part of the journey, and it's okay, and you can walk through it, and you're helped the whole time. So it's funny that I was given the string of lights as the photo to use for this message, because the next statement I was given was, "We want to give you the picture of attempting to string your thoughts together, trying to make sense, instead of allowing sense to emerge." So when I was looking at this person I know and feeling concern creep in, thinking, oh, maybe there's a mental imbalance there, I was judging and then coming up with another thought from ego and attaching that to the first one, and then accepting another thought from ego and attaching that to the second one. So I have this string of thoughts, and before you know it, you have a whole theory. And I'm starting to really see through this process. I don't need to make sense in this way. This thought from ego leads to this thought from ego, leads to this thought from ego, leads to this decision, which makes it seem as though I have made sense of something and I have found a truth. Instead, I can just wait. The moment I understand I'm projecting upon someone else instead of dealing with my own opportunity to heal, instead of meeting my own opportunity to heal in this moment, that is allowing sense to emerge. So I can just pause and go within and ask to be shown whatever I need to be shown. Or I'll often use a mantra for a shorthand for that focus. Whatever works. Take a breath, reset, and then it's not my job to make sense of the world. I already projected it. It's my job to allow healing so I can be brought out of the projection. And so I can see the extension of love through everyone and everything. So I can see the truth. Okay, so another idea I was given was, when sense emerges, it beams forth simultaneously. And I think every healing session we have with ourselves, where we go in to accept that we're projecting and to accept healing for ourselves, and instead of continuing the madness, it's like a rehearsal for allowing sense, reason, truth, grace to beam forth simultaneously from everyone and everything. So this practice that we do every day, it's like a rehearsal for the simultaneous beaming forth of love, light, what we are, through everyone and everything. And it's worth all the time we devote to the practice. Because what everyone really is, what everything really is not what we're projecting on it. It's not its surface. So the emergence happens when there's no longer anything in our one shared mind to hold it back. And once we really wake up to this, our roles we play in assisting in the awakening of everyone, it becomes very joyful. On our way to falling into our function fully, we have to walk through all of our fears, so we do not feel threatened by anything we see or experience anymore. So that's where we are now. We're walking through and being willing to fall into our roles together. When there's no longer anything in our one shared mind to hold it back. I'm thinking of the movie The Eternals, which I saw recently. And as I was watching it, I kept being sort of conducted into this state of deep neutrality. It was deep, deep, deep neutrality. And I almost couldn't have an opinion about it. But then it just came into focus. And my friend Amanda talked to me about it and gave me a perspective. Oh, like trying to hold back the emergence is trying to hold back the mass awakening. And I thought, oh, I hadn't even seen that. I was pulled so deep into this neutrality. But then just recently it popped into focus for me that one of the fears we have, or I have, is that the emergence destroys the world, causes destruction, hurts people. And in these times we're in of, intensity, we have fears of destruction, fears of people being hurt, fears of ourselves being hurt. But then I was shown a picture of how the emergence works. The world is transparent, and the light shines through the transparency. And what we saw before disappears. It doesn't get broken or destroyed or damaged. We just realized what we were looking at was never what we were looking at. And then we come to see what we were actually looking at the whole time. And we laugh and we're full of joy. So it's not like something powerful breaks through the brittle crust of something in place now and destroys it. That's not how it works at all. What we're looking at now becomes transparent. We allow the light to beam through what is transparent, and then what is transparent fades away. It doesn't die. The costume that we were seeing on top of what was already here just disappears. Just the gift wrap disappears. The outer coating disappears. That's it. Nothing gets destroyed. So I didn't realize I was carrying that fear with me. And being shown that picture helped me acknowledge, oh, I did have that fear of destruction, and I didn't realize it. Okay, so the insanity you perceive, quote, out there is always yours. This is my lesson. It is mine. If I am looking out upon insanity, it's mine. But so is the instantaneous power of projection to extension. So I can see what I'm thrusting out upon, that which looks to be outside of me, like insanity, right? I can, this tarp, I'm throwing over the light, I'm throwing over love. So I don't have to face that there's insanity in my mind for wanting to look upon a world of projection, of costumes, of destruction, of death, of suffering. That was my desire. And I have to admit that to go from projection to extension. If I say I'm being victimized and I'm trapped in a world of destruction and suffering and death, then I don't get to leave the world because I'm pretending that I'm trapped. I'm like holding my hands up and pretending that they're tied and I can't move, but I'm just pretending. I'm pretending. If I admit I desired to project, to come into this world and to see death and destruction and suffering, so I could be believably separate from love and light, that is the turning point. That is where I can allow extension and allow projection to fade away because it never was anything real. I wanted to try to be something real as separate, but I can't be real as separate. I'm only real as unified. So that's the turning point where you say, I know I can't be real as separate, and this has been some elaborate game I've been playing, and I'm ready to allow the projection to fade. I'm ready to allow emergence. I'm ready to accept the instantaneous power of projection to extension. And because I'm willing to accept it, I'm willing to share that power equally and instantly with everyone and everything. And that's where we are right now. We're in this place of accepting and acknowledging and admitting I'm only here because I wanted it. If it's being done to me, then I decide to stay in suffering. If I'm here because I wanted it, then I get to allow the projection to fade. I get to allow the extension of love and light to take over. And it's within each one of us to allow this. So happy allowing to you. May your path be gentle and happy and easy. And thank you for everything you're doing and everything you're allowing.